Hey guys, Ryu here, and in this video we're gonna be talking about an important subject of how can you sell your skills as a 3D artist, how to get hired, how to get fined by clients, etc. Right? So now the answer to this question is both simple and complicated. The simple answer is you really need a good portfolio, and that's basically it. Now the complicated answer is, well, what does it mean to have a really good portfolio? So there are two main components to a really good portfolio. One of them is consistency and the other one is quality. Before we're gonna go further, I just want to say that this week, probably this week, we're gonna be dropping a new Blender Bros course on design, and this course will be covering both theory and practical part of design, and it's going to cover a lot of subjects. Okay, how to overcome an artist block, how to come up with better designs, how to come up with better details, how to come up with better renders, how to understand lighting, composition, all these things. We're going to be discussing the theory, we're going to be discussing the practical side. There are going to be two practical separate modeling examples, one from Josh and one from myself. Josh will actually show you quite an in-depth workflow of creating a game-ready AAA quality game asset, including texturing, Substance Painter, and while doing that we're going to be actually showing you how to come up with better design. But in addition to this, the course is going to have a massive theoretical section in which I'm going to be basically selling you over 2 decades of my knowledge what are the elements of a good image or good art, good design, and how to actually improve your portfolio to get you that job. Because let me tell you, portfolio is probably the most important thing you should be working on. The look of your portfolio, the feel of your portfolio. So let's go back to this twofold portfolio secret, right? Which is basically the consistency and the quality. Now, consistency needs to be in style, in rendering, in lighting. So if you look at my portfolio, you can see clearly that there is a very consistent theme of lighting and toning. And two, there is a consistency in style and the theme. It's 3D and it's sci-fi, and it even says here on the top, sci-fi or nothing. So if someone approaches me with a modeling of a, I don't know, toilet duck or whatever, I'm just gonna tell them to get buggered, okay? Because I'm not interested unless the thing is on batteries and speaks alien, okay? I want to do sci-fi only, and mostly I do hard surface. I got like a 1 or 2 examples of, some sculpting, but mostly it's hard surface, right? So the consistency of style is one thing, and this is going to take you some time because there's no way you can come up with a style in 2 days, okay, or even a year. Probably gonna take you more than that. But you can work towards it and get better and better every day, and that's the point. Another factor of consistency in style is actually keeping your portfolio up to date with your current skill level. What does it mean? Well, I created this, this render yesterday. It took me like maybe 20 plus hours to actually render it. I mean, texture it first, because I retextured the whole thing in Substance Painter, which means I had to unwrap it because it wasn't unwrapped. That's a high polish, so let me tell you, it was a bit of a hassle. And then texture it in Substance Painter, then render it properly, 2 different scenes, and then post-process in Photoshop. So the whole thing took me easily above 20 hours. Was it worth it? Fuck yeah, because that basically shows what I can do, and shows this truck model in a different light, in a different scene. It's a full package, and that's the point. The previous one was okay, it was great, but it wasn't really, you know what I mean? Like, you can see the shape and the form and everything, and it's a cool render. I'm not saying it's a bad render, it's a good render, but I just wanted to create something more with it, something more towards the concept art, environment art, you see what I mean? So something that I really enjoy doing. And I decided to also add new textures because these are BSDF textures. So simply I evolved, and my knowledge evolved. I learned more about Substance Painter, and I wanted to, create something better looking, right? Let's go back here and I'll show you another example. This is an old scene. This is an environment I've done just a few months after I started 3D, because I started learning 3D in Blender, I think it was June 2019, so that was 2 years ago, which means probably a few months after I started doing 3D. So I didn't really know Blender cycles, I didn't know really much about the render engine, I didn't really know how to create better feel to the render, if you know what I mean, because the composition is fine, the lighting is fine, but it's a bit clinical, you know what I mean, it's a bit too meh, right? So I went ahead and changed it. A few months ago, I re-rendered this when I was creating this Mac for our course. And I thought that, it might be a good idea to recreate the scene, and I did this. So I moved a few elements, I changed things about, and most importantly, I changed the lighting and the feel and atmosphere of the render. So that is much closer to what I envisioned the scene to be as a final product, So that's what I wanted to come up with, but I simply wasn't skilled enough to get that. But I went back and I spent the whole fucking day redoing that, because that was my new skill level. Do you see my point? And if something is unfixable or something is really bad, I just remove it. Like, I can tell you already that probably this one, right? And, stuff like this, maybe this one as well, and this one, they're next to go. They're like, I'm kind of hovering my mind over the delete button. I already deleted, I think, 4 or 5 different sections in my portfolio, and I replaced them with new ones. Don't be afraid of deleting stuff. You're evolving. That's normal. My photography portfolio changed over the years several times. I re-edited almost all the images, I think at least twice throughout my career as a photographer, because they simply weren't good enough. They weren't representing my current level of skill. So now the clients will judge you based on your modeling skills, of course, but they will also judge you based on the visuals. And they're going to look through your images and they will decide based on what they see whether you can deliver or not. So if you're going to, drop on your ArtStation, let's say something like this, which is basically a raw render, right? You ain't gonna get, you ain't gonna get hired. You see what I mean? Because this is, well, it's a truck, right? But that's a render. That's a properly edited render. That's what you want, right? If you're gonna go here and drop something like this, I mean, it's okay, but it's bland. It just doesn't have the oomph that you need. Okay, it doesn't have the finishing touch. So quality and consistency, the two most important things in your portfolio. I can guarantee you, right? It's gonna be a bold statement, but I can guarantee you that I can make a cube look good. Because I know lighting, I know composition. I know how to present it. So it doesn't matter what I render, I can make it look good. So now the key is to understand how to compose, how to light something, how to render it, and how to edit it. These are very important skills. Possibly even more important than your modeling skills. Because modeling isn't that difficult. Coming with designs is far more difficult than modeling. Modeling is just a technical skill. It's a skill of moving verts about and understanding how shading works, right? But coming with a design, that's a whole new level of, difficulty, okay? Now, going back to the course subject, this course will help you to come up with better designs, will help you to understand detailed placement, will help you to understand shapes and balance of shapes, how the shapes play together in a design, how to come up with better composition, how to come up with better lighting, what are the encountered problems during the 3D work, etc. The concept of this course is to help you to become literally a better 3D artist and therefore sell yourself. So let me show you now how detailed I can get with my renders, okay, how anal I can get with this thing. So, there's a really small element here that annoyed me, and I fixed it. If I turn it on and off, you might see it if you look very carefully. It's a very small element, and there's this triangle here, the bright triangle here between this powertrain, whatever it is, and the back of the wheel. If I turn it on and off, you will see that it gets darker and brighter, right? Now, that is the original one, which is really bright, and the reason why it annoys me is because it's a triangle, which is a very powerful shape. It's very small, but it's very visible. The reason why it's visible is because it's contrasting with the dark areas around it. And even if you zoom out really far, you can still see it. And it's in the middle of the picture. I mean, that's just too irritating. And I went ahead and darkened it down. That's how detailed I get with my renders, right? So sometimes I go back to my renders and I fix stuff because I think it needs fixing. So to sum it up, right, you need to have a good portfolio, okay? You need to have a really good portfolio. The portfolio needs to be consistent. So even if you render, for example, one item, make sure that the lighting and toning is consistent between the renders, unless you're going for a very different look, like I did with a truck that was purposely, okay, different. But if you want to create something that sort of follows a theme, make sure it follows the theme. So it follows the lighting, follows the toning. Okay, see what I mean? You know, like here, for example, you got, you know, similar themes, similar toning, similar lighting, etc., similar contrast. It's just consistent, right? To sell the idea. Then of course you need good design, but that's gonna be covered in the course. Also, this Friday, probably this Friday, I'm gonna have a new video that will be covering a critique of a work, but it's gonna go a little bit in depth and much farther than my previous critiques, because I will actually re-render, re-edit the scene myself to show you what I mean by pointing out certain issues in the render. So I took render of Alex, which kindly agreed for me to critique his work on my YouTube channel. There was one of the works posted on our Facebook group, Blender Bros Facebook group, called Blender Hard Surface, and it caught my eye because I thought that the idea was really cool. An idea is really important. It's important to have an idea because it's a story, you see. Like, for example, this truck, it's a story, right? You know, this ship, that's a story, right? This one, that's a story as well. Okay, so I'm trying to sell stories with my renders. This is a catalog shot. That's a story. It's a catalog shot, right? You're looking at the catalog online and you're choosing robots, right? See what I mean? Trying to always create some kind of you know, story for what I do, right? Like, for example, this one, it's a very simple bot, but there's a story. It's a cinematic shot. So one more time, guys, keep your portfolios up to date. Make sure that your portfolios are consistent. Keep working on your editing skills, which are essential. And stop uploading, you know, renders from viewport or something, because that will not get you jobs. I repeat, that will not get you jobs, okay? I've seen a lot of amazing, you know, models. I mean, like, people with exceptional modeling skills. And they simply have no clue how to render it. They're good at design, but they're not good at renders. I see this a lot. Very good designers, but terrible renderers, okay? You need both, right? You need to keep working on design and keep working on renders. You need both. You can sort of help a bit your render with a really good editing. So even if you create something that's simple, this is a really simple model, guys, right? This is a good example. Very simple model. You know, it's just a cube with two cuts, some pipes, and a screen, and a few decals, and that's it. Nothing complicated. But it's textured and it's properly rendered, so it's presentable. If I posted this, you know, without any proper lighting, without editing, without any toning, it would just look boring. Okay, no one would want to look at it. But because it's properly rendered and properly presented, that's why it's sellable, right? That's why it looks good, right? So you can make even the simplest thing look interesting if you know what to do with lighting and composition, which again, in this upcoming course, we're going to be talking about it a lot. Okay, guys, that's it for this one. Stay tuned for the course, and I hope this video helps you out. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.